push and shove over labor matters in the oil and gas industry ends first time in stalemate, but talks continued Tuesday. Midterm report of the current administration, we have a discussion on the legislative perspective indicating that there are still some miles to cover. Also on the program, PDP promises a transparent national convention. We have this and more on our lineup. I'm Fisayo Gunfui. Welcome. The federal government will Tuesday resume the national dialogue with the National Union of Petroleum Natural Gas Workers and the Dangote Group after an earlier deadlock. Minister of Labor and Employment Mohammed Megari Dingyadi says while major issues have been resolved, discussions will continue to address the few outstanding concerns.
The tripartite meeting is focusing on resolving the industrial dispute over the unionization rights of employees at the Dangote refinery. Minister of Labor and Employment Mohammed Megari Dingyadi appeals to all parties to weigh the wider implication of the ongoing strike by the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers on the nation's economy.
What we are discussing today is very, very important to the peace, stability of our dear country and our economy. Oil industry is not a sector that we play with.
Following the minister's briefing, the session went into a closed-door meeting, and after nearly 6 hours of deliberation and side negotiations, the parties could not reach full agreement on all issues.
It takes more than a party to reach a resolution. So whenever the representative of the Dangote petroleum refinery, when he sees the need for a meaningful dialogue, why not? We are ready. We are ready anytime, even this night. If he changes his mind and comes back, that is ready for discussion, we're here. That's the reason why we're here.
The action of labor is also for the interests of Nigerians.
The International Labour Organization Convention 87 of 1948 and 98 of 1949 upholds workers' right to form unions, drafts their own rules, and engage in collective bargaining for decent work. With no final resolution yet in sight, the nation continues to grapple with the economic impact of the industrial dispute. In Abuja, Joseph Oten, NTA News.
Now to politics. The northern Nigeria minorities have pledged total commitment to the success of the Renewed Hope agenda and the APC-led administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu beyond 2027. The group said the presidency has changed the age-long history of being heavily sidelined in governance, low infrastructure development, and poor human capital and entrepreneurial growth. The stakeholders lament the position of other groups who often attack government for not carrying the zone along, saying the minorities are pleased with the national government and will support it for the continuity and progress. The group appealed to the president to remain resolute in his continued efforts to ensure diversification of the economy, promote local industry, boost agriculture, and guarantee national security.
The northern minorities, the true majority of the North, reject their falsehood. Look at the facts. How can anyone in good conscience say President Tinubu is anti-North? The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Minister of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defense Staff, the GMD of NNPCL, the MD CEO of Ajaokuta Steel Company, the very cerebral Minister of Information and National Orientation are all Northerners? Or is there any other North unknown to we, the minorities of the Northern Nigeria? Creation of the Northwest and North Central Development Commission, which came into existence by the vision of one man to tackle our region's unique challenges and begin the narrative of equitable allocation of resources.
We're still in our series of midterm reports, and we have had member representing Iziagu and Ude Federal Constituency of Enugu State and National Assembly, a legal practitioner, Honorable Sunday Omega, who shared his thoughts with us on some of the issues on the front burner as far as performance and governance is concerned.
All right, thank you. Well, judging from objective point of view, I would say that the 10th National Assembly have done marvelously well. I say this because when you look at our constitutional responsibility, which is one, primarily to make laws, and two, to oversight the executive arm of government, I would say that in terms of lawmaking, a lot of bills have been passed into law, majority of which the president has assented to, and there are also ones that the president has also returned for reconsideration. And also looking at the most recent development, the tax reform bills, after all the dust, after all the concerns raised by Nigerians, the legislative arm was able to, maturely handle the situation at the end of the day, give to Nigerians a law that we've all been yearning for. So the successful passage of that tax reform bills into law and having been assented to by the president is a very big mileage achieved by the legislative arm of government. At the same time, looking at the robust oversight functions that have been carried out by various committees of the House, ranging from public accounts to my own committee, House Committee on Justice, to so many other committees, effective engagement with the executive arm of government, looking at the activities of the executive arm to ensure that their functions and activities adhere strictly to the provisions of the law, and to also make sure that they are, driven by the interest and the welfare of Nigerian citizens. So I will score the House above distinction. Honestly, that's the position of things.
All right, that's a very, very, can I say, generous mark, some might say. But in terms of oversight, your interactions with the executive, has it been a pat in the back between you and the executive, or have you been able to, if you have seen situations where you think more needed to be done, have you been able to make those interventions and ensure that those things are done?
Yeah, the position has been that in the process of oversighting an agency of government, if there are things we spot that are not done the right way, that have not gone the way it ought to have gone, we don't hesitate bringing it out to the full and also making sure that we press that the right thing be done. I'll give you an example. For example, I'm a member of House Committee on Public Accounts. Recently, it's all over the news. Through the effective oversight implementation, we were able to recover to the Federation accounts not less than 60 billion naira. It's far more than that. If it was actually a game of fall for me, I fall for you, definitely those money wouldn't have come out. But because we insisted that the right thing must be done, those who are owing the federal government, those who are ought to pay the necessary fees need to do so. At the same time, we are looking at Auditor General's report of various years. In the course of it, we have seen agencies that are falling short of the legal requirements, and we insisted that the sanctions, the recommendations of the Auditor General must be, approved and adhered to. We've done that. So I can tell you that this time around, the House is not joking in its oversight function. The House has been very, very, very strict and strong, even though we've been diplomatic in the way we go about it, but that does not give room for any compromise. Let me also use my committee as a point of contact. There was a time Nigerians cried out about some of the recoveries made by federal government that strictly under the purview of the Ministry of Justice. We also summoned the Attorney General of the Federation. He appeared in the course of the budget defense, and these issues were raised. And there were very strong clarifications we are giving to all of them, and Nigeria became assured that yes, truly, that the government is doing the right steps. So I can tell you, it is not a child's play. Thank you.
As a legislator at the national level, let's move to the state which produced you. When you came to the House, you were a member of the Labour Party. Now you're a member of the APC. What informed your convictions that you needed to change logo?
Yeah. Party is a vehicle that brings us to the destination where we are. If in the course of it, things turn out not to be the way you had wished, you have no option than to look for an avenue where you will be able to deliver on the mandate, on the promises, on the expectations, the yearnings of your people. I came into the National Assembly through the platform of Labour Party. When we came, it's all our hope to consolidate on the party to better the loss of Nigerians. But along the line, so many things began to happen in the party. As leaders, we tried to intervene. We tried to see how best we can solve these situations. But they became worsened. A situation where you have not less than 3 persons or group or factions claiming to be the authentic national leadership of the party. You have the Lamida Papa group. You have the Julius Abure group. You have the Nenadi Usman group. You see, the party became a party without direction. The party has no focus, it has no bearing. It's not as if it must be huru, it must be bed of roses, no. But there were serious interventions that we tried to make.
If you don't mind me just interjecting there, those in the party, a number of them are bitter about this defection in the sense that you called the party a vehicle. And it seems as if you and some of your colleagues have used it as a bus that you have highlighted before you got to the bus stop. And perhaps you didn't give the conductor the desired remuneration that he needed, because they felt that the party would also become stronger based on the fact that it had produced many members in the House of Representatives as well as in other state assemblies as well. Do you understand where they are coming from if they sound a bit about your movement?
Yeah, of course, I understand the feelings. I understand the feelings, and you can't take it away from them. Even we that also left the party, it wasn't as if that was the intendment, no. But where you have done your best, you've tried to, bring ideas, solutions on how best this thing can be solved. But you see that the party is, positioned for a direction that will definitely not be in the best interest of Nigerians. It's a situation where personal interests have overriding the interests of the people. It is not a good situation for us to remain in the party. We try to intervene. There's a lot of meetings. In fact, at a point, I was a member of the 29-man caretaker committee that were selected or elected at the Umahia stakeholders meeting. And I was there also representing the House of Rep and to a large extent my state in the caucus. But at the same time, a lot of going front and back, no direction, no headway. Even as at the moment, look at where the Labour Party is. Many people who felt aggrieved by the decisions we took, now are also taking the same decision. They've also told the same part because they've seen that what we saw ahead of them, they didn't see it that time, but now they've all seen it. All of them, some are leaving to APC, some are joining ADC, some are going to different parties. You see, Labour is as good as, sorry to say, a moribund party.
Okay, if you are talking about Labour, permit the pun, don't let us belabor the point. So we move on, to your state and your performance so far, because we've talked about the midterm report, and you were talking about activities of the executive and your oversight activities here at the national, at the center. But let's go to, people will be expecting intervention from you. Irrespective of where you have crossed to and from where you are coming, the people of your constituency must feel the impact of your intervention and why they gave you pocket money to come to Abuja to represent them. So tell us exactly, what interventions have you made so far?
All right. Thank you so much for this question and for an opportunity to also reel out what I've done so far. It ranges from sponsorship of bills in the House. I sponsored quite a number of bills, and
just mention one or two that.
Let me give you one that is very, very direct. There's a bill I sponsored on the establishment of a skill acquisition center in my place. What informed that bill is because of the fact that I realized that there are many young people in my constituency that are roaming about without job, without employment, and all of them are hoping for white-collar jobs. You see, and I have come to realize that there is no way this white-collar job will be available for everybody. So we must have an alternative. And I see as a solution to this problem, let there be a skill acquisition center where some of these young people can imbibe one skill or the other. You see, let me give you an example. If you go to my place, if you're building a house and it gets to the stage where these screeding POPs are needed, at times when you call for workers to do it for you, you see people from Togo, you see people from Ghana, but these are what able-bodied young men the skill they could acquire to help themselves. Even when you're doing this job and along the line you are opportune to have a government employment, then you compare between what you're doing and the employment you're being offered, which one will be better for you, and you have an alternative. So I see that bill as very central to my aim and my vision of contributing in addressing the menace of unemployment. Once the youths are unemployed, the crime rate will continue to increase. So that's one of the most outstanding bills. There was also an intervention I made when there was the killing of some of my constituents in a scenario that involves them with the Nigerian army. I also sponsored a motion. That motion saw the light of the day. It was investigated. The House set up a committee. The committee came to Enugu, investigated. At the end of the day, there were resolutions made, recommendations were made, and so far, government have been faithful in ensuring that these recommendations see the light of the day. Then, going out of bills and laws, we've also intervened in the area of infrastructure. One of the biggest problems of my constituency is the issue of lack of water, access to clean water, access to potable water. Within the 2 years of my stay in the National Assembly, we've been able to dug not less than 6-7 boreholes, solar powered and functional, you see, in different communities where water is of great necessity to them. These boreholes are ongoing and they are all functional and they are going on. We're also digging more and more. You go to the places like Iworo, job is going on, the Imam Iwolo, the work is ongoing as we speak. In fact, last week or last 2 weeks, there's one we finished at Amekengo. Then that's on the area of water. Then if you come to road infrastructure, you see, if you come to Enugu State, Eziagu local government, being one of the local governments within my constituency, is backwards in terms of development, in terms of infrastructure. There's no road network. We've been able to attract 3 fundamental and life-impacting roads. These roads, we just flagged it off last week, and as I speak to you, the big machines are there, works are ongoing.
Can you mention the roads?
Yes, now there's one Amanshodo in Oyoge Road. There's one of Amankwo Imezi Road. There's one of Akamoge Road. That's my village where I come from. There's also another road we attracted at Udi. That is Amonko Binago Udi local government. So these are ongoing.
Honorable Sunday Mega, you mentioned your village. You didn't mention my village, but it's okay. It's all roads to progress. That has been the interview segment. You will be back definitely, but we'll wrap up our discussion for today. But wish you the very best. We'll call you back again, especially when your constituency wants to put out your scorecard as their representative. Many thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Moving on now, the leadership of the People's Democratic Party says it will deliver a transparent national convention that will reposition the party for a better outing. Governors of the parties on the party's platform also promised to work with the National Working Committee, NWC, in that direction.
Set aside personal grievances and ambitions that do not serve the collective interest, if any exists.
Every stakeholder in this party is my friend, but I will not place this party or our relationship above this party.
So there is no need raising temperature because there will be no, and there should be no exclusion.
The key word is discipline. We will no longer allow or tolerate anybody to take us for granted. It has to stop. Enough is enough.
Still on party matters, it was mild political drama over the weekend when the member representing Kiru Bebeji, a federal constituency of Kano, Abdulmumin Jibrin, tendered his resignation as a member of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. State chairman of the party, Suleiman Ashim Dungunrawa, spoke to NTA on the development.
Option rather than to take drastic action on him as he did to us. So the party decided to set a committee to invite him for a discussion to know what is really going on, whether we can solve the situation. But unfortunately, he went ahead and put more harm on the party, telling the public that he may likely dump the party. So what has party done to you? Is it not you use the platform to become what you are? Do you give anybody cover? Nobody requests for cover. You know, in Konkosia, we give free everything. We don't collect money. That is why our integrity is very expensive, very difficult to penetrate. We don't joke with it because we cannot build something strong for a couple of years just because of your selfish interest where you come and demolish it overnight. You don't have that power. I will not allow you. That was why the ESCO decided to expel the man. And alhamdulillah, we expel him. He accepted. He even wished us a good success and a victory in our future politics. We say alhamdulillah, we thank for him for that prayer. We don't joke with prayer. But notwithstanding, he should know that there is outstanding money that the party, that he owes the party, because there is monthly contribution of all the elected officers that you're supposed to be remitting to the party on monthly basis. Despite a couple of months, he was there almost 2 years, yet he has not been able to deposit a single kobo. So that one will not joke with it. We will take him to court. We will retrieve that money. He must pay us back, and with the interest.
All right, so politics is about interest. So let's move on now. The African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development and Women's Rights Advancement, as well as Protection Alternative, are resonating voices on the alteration of electoral laws to allow for inclusion of all strata of persons and transparency in the management of resources. This was at the 6-month review of Civic Space, Poverty and Election Project.
Democratic use of this act and other laws to silence expression of opinions calls for good governance, and the limitations of independent organizing is unacceptable. Civic space is the heartbeat of democracy.
We will pursue vigorously and continue critical advocacy engagement with the National Assembly, with INEC, the judiciary, and security agencies to generate understanding and commitment to translate the system proposals into actionable policies.
The project is dealing with inclusion, poverty as a fact, and most importantly, accountability. So if we go on those 3 lines of inclusion, what we are calling from this project is that Nigerians should have the opportunity to participate and partake in the decisions within political parties as party members.
On that note, we wrap up our political update for today. Between now and when we come your way again, do play your politics for the greater good and keep it logged on the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest and finest, for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye.